What's up, guys? I'm here at McVille Airport. It is just about 8 o'clock in the morning right now. I'm getting ready to try to take off. The wind is pretty calm, but every once in a while I feel like a decent gust come through. I'm gonna see maybe if I could take advantage of that to try to get off of the ground. But if you look up in the sky here, we've got some relatively overcast skies, and the clouds are just starting to break a little bit. So that's gonna give me a decent amount of time to fly too. But I've only got about 4 liters of gas. I'm only gonna probably fly for like 40-45 minutes. It's also cold, like 25 degrees or so up at altitude. It's like 34 right now down here at the ground. The ground is a little bit soggy too. Gonna go and do that, see what it's like, have a nice little morning flight, and then go home and get on with the rest of my day. Wing is laid out behind me here. The slightest of breezes was kind of helping me get the wing pulled up and laid out. So I think that when I go to take off, it's gonna be nice to allow me to pull the wing up over top of my head and keep it there while I gain enough speed to get off the ground. I'm pretty much just gonna get myself bundled up because it's cold, and I'm gonna strap in and see what I can do.
So that breeze that I was talking about while I was setting up really did end up helping me quite a bit get off the ground really quickly. I mean, it was probably one of the fastest launches that I have ever had in my life. I was off the ground in maybe less than 10 steps. It was really awesome, but you can see as I speed the footage up exactly just how bumpy it was down low as I was climbing up out away from the airfield. The mountains and the trees and stuff around the area really just make for turbulent air when there's any kind of wind, and since there was enough wind to help me get off the ground, there was enough wind to make turbulence, and so I was rocked around until I got up about where I am right now here. And since the air was smoothing out, I was starting to get a little bit more comfortable, but I was also starting to get cold. And right here was the very first time that I ever really experimented with like cranking and banking a little bit. I've never really pulled quickly and deeply on the brake toggles because, you know, I've been kind of trying to just be, as a beginner, fly straight and safe and level, right? You know, I'm not really used to this idea of really ripping around on an aircraft through 3 dimensions. And so this was like my first time. This last one that I did there it spooked me too much. I had to lay off and I start turning a little bit more slowly, and I'm like, okay, maybe I need to fly a little bit more steady because I wasn't really quite ready for it yet. And that got my adrenaline pumping a little bit, so it warmed me up some, but it was so incredibly cold this day. The weather forecast was saying that it was going to be about 25 degrees up at altitude, and it was definitely not 25 degrees up there. It was probably closer to maybe 10. And with the wind too, not only was the wind blowing towards me like an actual wind in the air, but I am flying through the air as well, and it was just freezing. My hands were getting so cold. As I come out over this field over here away from the airport, I like to fly over this little cemetery. My hands were getting so cold, it was painful. Like I could not feel my fingers at all, and when I would try to like move them or wiggle them a little bit, it was just incredible, like gut-wrenching pain. And so here I am going to come back in, and I'm going to let the video slow down a little bit so you can get a real sense of scale of just how slow across the ground I'm actually moving, because the wind is really, it's steady, but it's also like, you know, rolling over these hills and stuff. So I'm going slow and I'm correcting constantly. But as slow as I'm going here, I'm still going to mess my landing up a little bit. I end up flaring a little bit too late is really what the problem was, and with the ground being as soggy as it is, I slide on it like I'm ice skating. So check out this crazy landing. I can't believe that I stayed on my feet. Lesson number 1. Get heated glove liners or some sort of heated gloves if you're going to fly in weather that is supposed to be cold, because not only the air coming at you in the literal wind, but you going through the air is going to make it much colder. And the second lesson I learned was a little bit about making sure that I don't flare too late when I'm going slow over the ground, because that can make you skate like you're on the ice. And that's it, guys. If you like what I'm doing here, make sure that you like and subscribe. Feel free to share it. And tune in for the next one. I've got a few more on the back burner.